We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples.
Hello, and welcome to Tips and Tricks for Helping Children Return to School. My name is Afshan Siddiqui. I am a psychologist with the TDSP. Yvonne Wyndham, a speech language pathologist, and I will be presenting you with some ideas to make your family's transition back to school as easy as possible. We cover several different topics in a collection of videos. This particular video is on managing feelings of anxiety. Some of our other topics include preparing for change, getting ready for school expectations, and improving focus. We also have one on helping older students that combines much of the information in these other 4 videos. The videos can be viewed in any order, so please feel free to watch them in whichever order you prefer. Going back to school can cause feelings of anxiety at the best of times. After having been at home for quite a long period of time, along with all of the stuff that's going on in the world, it's likely that many children will be feeling even more nervous about going back to school. However, we can manage our anxious feelings with some good coping techniques. The purpose of this presentation is to help you manage your children's anxiety about going back to school.
Anxiety is a normal emotion. We all feel anxious at times. In fact, it can actually be helpful. It's our body's response to stress or danger. We can have anxious thoughts and body sensations. Too much anxiety can be overwhelming and cause problems. So it's important that we manage our anxiety.
Anxiety can affect your body in different ways. It may be mentally, such as your mind racing with different thoughts, or even a physical feeling, such as sweating or your heart racing. Anxiety may even cause a person to feel nauseous or lose their appetite. This resource comes from milemarks.com. This website has some nice free downloadable resources and printables to use with children. Here, we can ask children to identify where they feel anxiety in their body to help them become more aware and to talk about how to cope with those feelings. Even with a regular return to school, anxiety can cause lots of thoughts of uncertainty for children, and it's even more pressing now. They may wonder, what if someone I love gets sick? What if I get sick? Something bad could happen to my parents when I'm at school. Maybe the work will be too hard for me this year. What if none of my friends are in my class? I like my teacher. This graphic is from gozen.com. It shows 8 ways that a child's anxiety may manifest itself as something else. For instance, anger. The perception of danger, stress, or opposition may trigger the fight or flight response and leave your child angry, and they're not able to communicate why. They may also have difficulty sleeping. They might not be able to fall asleep or stay asleep, and that could be a characteristic of anxiety. Defiance. A child that's unable to communicate what's going on may show as being defiant because they're trying to control a situation where they feel anxious and helpless. Chandeliering. Chandeliering is when a person that you usually think of as quite calm suddenly flies off the handle for no reason. They may have pushed hurt and anxiety so deep down for so long that something very innocuous or harmless that's said to them, or something that's happening that seems fairly okay, suddenly sends them straight through the chandelier, hence the term chandeliering. Lack of focus. Some children with anxiety are often so caught up in their own thoughts that they don't even pay attention to what's going on around them. And that could also be a sign of anxiety. Avoidance. Children who are trying to avoid a particular person or place or task often end up experiencing more of whatever it is that they're actually trying to avoid. Negativity. People with anxiety tend to experience negative thoughts at a much greater intensity than positive thoughts. Overplanning. Overplanning and defiance go hand in hand in their root cause. Where anxiety can cause some children to try to take back control through defiant behavior, it can cause others to overplan for situations where planning is not really needed, or it's a very simple situation and they are overthinking it. All of these are signs that anxiety could be occurring in your child. There are lots of different ways, and these are not the only ways that it shows up, but it just gives you an idea for you to be aware and to help your child with the coping tools that we hope to give you through this presentation.
One question that we often ask ourselves as parents is, how can we help? Well, we can help our children with their feelings of anxiety in a few different ways. One is to focus on and help them identify what they are feeling. We'd also want to help them identify what they're thinking and how it's affecting them. And then lastly, we would want to practice some coping skills in order to manage what we're feeling and what we're thinking. One way you can help your children is through identifying what they are feeling. Talk to your children about anxiety and let them know it's normal to feel worried sometimes. You can also ask your children to show you where they're feeling their feelings of anxiety in their body by asking them to color in a worksheet. We have one attached here and hope to provide a resource link to this document, which is really just this outline of the body over here. If it's not possible to provide this resource, you can always draw a body yourself or see if you can find one online that you can use with your children. Another way to help your children or students identify how they are feeling is by using a scale of some sort to help them recognize when their feelings of upset are increasing. So I've just pulled up a visual from the internet to give us an idea of how we can use a thermometer to demonstrate that, and then just inserted some text boxes with some emotions or feelings that they might be feeling at each level. At the bottom, they could be feeling relaxed. Going up the scale, they're feeling calm. As their feelings increase even further, they're feeling more tense and anxious. And then at the very top level, they're feeling panicked. You can work with your children, help them identify where they are or which level they're at, and then determine ways to help them cope with what they're feeling at each level. You would also want to help your children identify what they're thinking. So have your children write their thoughts in a journal or put them in a worry jar. And then each day you would take out one of their thoughts from the worry jar and talk to them about their worries and reframe them into a more realistic thought if possible. You can also use a worry decision tree to decide what to do with the worry. There is a free resource available on the Psychology Tools website that can help guide you through this process. With the worry decision tree, you would have your children try to think about what they're worrying about, if it's a problem that they can do something about, and if yes, then work out what they could do. So having them list their options. And if no, letting the worry go and changing their focus of attention. If they are going to be working on what they can do, and after having listed their options, asking them if there's anything they can do right now about their worry. If the answer is yes, then they would do it. If it's no, then you could ask them to plan what they could do and when they would do it. And then letting the worry go and changing their focus of attention. Here are some ways that you can practice coping skills at home. As a parent, try modeling calm and coping with your children so that they have an example that they can follow. If you are calm and are able to show how you cope with difficult situations, they will follow your lead and learn from you. As a family, you can also practice many of these different ideas to develop coping skills at home. Physical activity and mindfulness are two things that we've discussed previously in another one of our videos on improving focus. Both of these can help improve focus, but also help calm our bodies. Deep breathing, which can be related to mindfulness as well, is another way of helping to calm ourselves. There are many visuals online that you can use to help with deep breathing as well. There's the square breathing visual where you just go up and across the sides of a square and breathe in for 4 breaths, hold it for 4 breaths, breathe out for 4 breaths, and so on. There's also progressive muscle relaxation, where you would tense and then release muscles in order to produce relaxation. You should consider engaging in some positive self-talk and using gratitude journals to help focus more on your strengths and the positive aspects of life. With positive self-talk, you would tell yourself things like, I can do it. And with gratitude journals, you would take a moment to think about what you are thankful for and happy with in your life. Other calming activities include things like listening to music and coloring. And on our next slide, we'll show you a few more examples of these. It's also important to try to reduce the use of social media if you can. And laugh together. Laughing is a wonderful way of releasing some stress. You can help your child create a list of what helps them manage their anxiety. Here's a nice visual that demonstrates the many different ways that can be used to manage or cope with feelings that we have. And there are many other things that are not necessarily on this list. You can check online to see if you can find other coping tools.
That might help give you a starting point.
Some children may need more help than you can give them. In that case, please consider contacting outside supports for additional help. Your children can contact the Kids Help phone line either through text or by calling. There's also the What's Up walk-in clinics that offer free virtual and phone counseling. You can also speak with your family doctor to access services and consult with your child's teacher when school starts again to access support through the professional support services team at the school board. There are many books available that can help in terms of understanding anxiety and what to do when children are having feelings of anxiety. We just have a couple examples here, but as I mentioned, there's many more. So please consider accessing your local library to see what is available there. Here are a few things to remember from this video. Anxiety is a normal and sometimes helpful part of life, particularly nowadays. Too much anxiety can be overwhelming. You can help your children by helping them to identify their feelings and their thoughts to give them a better understanding of what they're coping with or dealing with. Practice coping skills with your children so that they can independently use them when they are feeling anxious. And get help for them when they need it. Thank you for watching our video on managing feelings of anxiety. We hope that this information has been useful to you. Please consider watching some of our other videos for more information. Thanks again.